Welcome to ESG Accord. This is an explainer video for financial advice firms. What is ESG Accord? ESG Accord provides an ESG and Sustainable Finance compliance framework to assist you in developing and continuing your best practice processes. ESG Accord believes in good outcomes for people, good outcomes for the market, and good outcomes for the planet. Our framework supports your firm to deliver best practice advice in ESG and sustainable finance. These are PROD and MiFID II friendly procedures. The UK is undergoing a shift in values. The EU has already started the process of developing a truly sustainable financial system, and we have been watching these developments with keen interest. With reference to the remit letter from Rishi Sunak to the FCA and PRC, the UK is aiming to ensure every financial decision takes climate change into account. The ESG Accord compliance framework will help your clients determine their ESG and sustainable finance values and preferences. It is in response and in readiness to the UK regulatory changes. Needed under the new anticipated rules, yes, but remember this is in addition to our existing MiFID II and PROD requirements, which mean matching your clients to funds and products and detailing the research and outcome pathway. The FCA has just released its Sustainable Finance Strategy, and it aims to make sure their regulatory approach creates an environment in which market participants can manage the risks from moving to a more sustainable economy and capture opportunities which benefit consumers. The strategy is based on 3 themes. These themes are transparency, which means promoting good disclosures along the investment chain; trust, ensuring the market delivers sustainable finance instruments and products that genuinely meet investors' sustainability preferences; and tools, government, regulators, and industry all working together to share experience, develop guidance and tools, and provide mutual support as we address the challenges of climate change. So you can see, advising on ESG and sustainable finance now needs a granular compliance framework to be embedded. That's before we have any further regulatory changes regarding disclosures, etc. And so starting the process now will make meeting any new future rules so much easier. ESG Accord helps to bring best practice into your firm from an immediate compliance perspective and in respect of future risk proofing. It supports a firm's longevity for your wealth shift clients and for the future of your firm in terms of exit planning. It also underpins the market participation for the distributor-manufacturer relationship for MiFID II and PROD. The ESG Accord Framework. You will need to make a website disclosure on what ESG and sustainable finance advice you will give and the level of advice that you offer. This means that you will need to define your position on ESG and sustainable finance. ESG Accord provides an example website disclosure statement and example terms of business amendments and an explainer addendum for ESG and sustainable finance. You will need to ask every new and every existing client at review if they would like to include ESG and sustainable finance into their portfolio. To support this, we have a 2-stage triage and values questionnaire system. This has been strategically designed so that you can first ensure that a client understands what they're being asked, such as climate change and other ESG factors that are now considered financially material in mitigating risk. And this now needs explaining to clients and ensure that they understand. Our framework enables you to obtain a granular record of your client's understanding and the outcome of the discussions that have taken place, And the framework profiles your client to determine the depth and level of their preferences and values. The triage process profiles clients to 6 levels. Level 0, this is for clients that do not wish to include any ESG and sustainable finance metrics into their financial planning. This must still go through a specific compliance process, right through and into the final suitability letter. It's important from a risk perspective for you and your firm. Level 1 is ESG. Level 2 is ESG plus underpins. Level 3 is socially responsible investing and responsible investing. Level 4 is the UN Sustainable Development Goals and impact investing. And level 5 are your full ethical clients. For your broad level 1 and 2 clients, that's the ESG and ESG plus underpin clients, the triage system will give you sufficient detail to complete their broad preferences process. This saves time and undue complication for you and your clients alike. So for the clients with these level preferences, they will not need to complete an additional and separate values questionnaire. The corresponding due diligence and fund research for your firm means that you can simply identify ESG funds where the fund manager sets the ESG metrics for consideration and the stock selection in line with their own processes. And then for the level 2 clients, you can separate out the ESG funds with the ESG plus funds, which have got the common no-go areas of investment in addition to the ESG metrics. The second stage of our process is the values questionnaire. We have these at levels 3, 4, and 5. Each level has a series of robust questions, allowing you to help the client determine and explore their values and preferences fully. For example, your client may state a specialist interest. This must be matched with their general objectives and ATR first and foremost. So the preference outcome identified will lead you back into your investment selection, allocation, and risk processes. So you can see how the values and preferences must be explored and understood fully. The ESG Accord Framework enables this level of independent and neutral fact-finding. From here, it's a question of aligning the portfolio to the client values, or balancing, using a portion for specialist interest, or perhaps targeting returns from identified opportunities. For your research and due diligence, the triage and values questionnaire system plus the due diligence templates we provide mean that you will have a workable framework, one that's compatible with whole of market. It will be demonstrable for your prod suitable target market outcomes and provide you with an independent framework and questions to use with fund groups. This means the systems that you'll have in place will record all decisions and outcomes with robust and granular detail for preservation on your file and in your suitability letters. Staff and advisor training will follow and file checks will follow. Embedding ESG and sustainable finance into your firm will likely mean a revisit to your SM and CR to ensure that the processes and understanding is throughout your firm. Our framework will assist you to identify and ensure that training needs are met. Your training will then be targeted and help make the decisions and handle all the possible outcomes that the clients may give. The ESG Accord Framework, as described in this presentation, is currently at £395 for 1 year until the 31st of August 2021. It includes expertise and updates for website disclosure statements, terms of business amendments, client explainer addendum, due diligence, that's your internal processes and the questions to the fund groups, and of course all levels for the Triage and Values Questionnaire. ESG Accord, of course, can also provide additional bolt-on services and file checks. And please note, if you are a compliance consultant, an external compliance consultant, we mean, or a network, we also provide an in-accord program which has been specifically designed for compliance consultants for networks and financial training firms. So please get in touch. ESG Accord is myself, Ellie Dowding, and Lee Coates OBE. I'm a pension transfer specialist. I hold the CFA UK ESG investing certificate. I have experience in defined benefit reviews, Section 166 experience, report writing, and have been a pensions and investments BDM, a sales manager for pensions and investments, and wealth development manager looking after the key national accounts in the city for Legal and General. Lee is co-founder of Ethical Investors. He's the co-founder also of Ethical Screening, which is an online database for ethical funds, for ESG funds, for responsible investment funds. Lee is a respected public speaker on all aspects of responsible investment and sustainable finance. And he was awarded his OBE in 2011 for services in ethical business and finance. Thank you for listening.